Hello to everyone and welcome to another video with Hypnotherapy Training International. And today's topics, there are hypnotherapy schools and hypnotherapy schools. You can learn hypnotherapy online, in person, in different countries, in different methods, in different ways, by more qualified, less qualified people. Dr. Butler, how is Hypnotherapy Training International different to other hypnotherapy schools? Of course, we know that you've been in the field for over 40 years and teaching for over 30 years. You've been taught and working closely with the legend Gil Boyne and many others. You have a class coming in September, October, Advanced Analytical Hypnotherapy. Tell us a little bit about that class and tell us how it is taught differently to other schools. So people out there are looking to join a class and looking to study hypnotherapy can learn a little bit about the differences out there.
Thank you. Well, there are several differences, I believe, between ourselves and the other courses I know in the field. And that's not simply saying we're better, we're different. And I think in certain ways we've added a lot more to this field over the years, the field of analytical hypnotherapy. Originally, hypnoanalysis was the term given up until about the 70s, and it's still used. But Gil Boyne and other people developed the ideas of Dave Ellman and all of the psychotherapy work done on ego state therapy and took it back into hypnotherapy, which is the deep roots of all of psychotherapy, of all of talk therapy. Many people still tend to think hypnotherapy is an offshoot or a kind of a minor set of techniques that you use in conjunction with psychotherapy. But actually, in science, we call that a category 2 error, because when you look at the history of the development of modern psychiatry, modern psychology, many people, academics, have now come along to the view, which some academics had before, Ellenberger and people like that, Adam Crabtree, who showed that the foundations of the ideas of the dynamic subconscious mind or unconscious mind affects us greatly, and it was discovered in the late 18th century through Mesmer and other people, and right through the 19th century. So there's a very, very long history. Now, hypnotherapy, advanced analytical hypnotherapy, as we call our course, deals with the deeper roots of issues. It's of great value to anybody who wants to understand themselves better, but particularly for hypnotherapists who come along who want to increase their level of proficiency in clinical skills. And as you work with that whole set of ideas, you learn to develop yourself as a person, as a therapist, and you're learning about your deeper subconscious power. That's critical. And we want to make sure that you understand the subconscious properly from within. So ours is hands-on, practical oriented. There's a lot of knowledge to go with that. But whether you do it online with us or in person, there's a lot of homework. And if you practice with that homework properly, you'll develop great skills. And using the subconscious, which is creative mind, is much more than the old Freudian idea of the id, or a kind of a negative and kind of passive subconscious in some ways, but really in terms of its influence on us. In other words, it's working in our bodies and many systems in the background that we don't have to get involved with normally, so we don't control it. That's a mistake, of course, in life, because it may be misprogrammed at times, or even very severely misprogrammed over the years. And then if you don't take control over it actively, not just passively letting it run on its own, if you don't take control of your subconscious, it may well give you great problems in life, emotionally and or physically. So we have this dynamic approach to the subconscious mind as a creative mind. Gil Boyne developed ideas called, which he put together into a kind of a label, under the label of transforming therapy. And he didn't claim it was all new. It wasn't the latest flavor of the month, the latest XYZ. It was a coherent set of ideas and principles that were tried and tested. And you can, of course, bring other ideas in and out of it and remark it under different labels. We have many variations on transforming therapy out there. But to go to the original, which we keep evolving, you're going to the roots of analytical hypnotherapy as understood and developed by some of the greatest people in the field. And it starts with self-development. It starts with clearing your past. It starts for the client taking them into their baggage of the past, because programming on its own is not proving efficient enough. It's too slow. It's too conflicted really within their mind to accept the new programming suggestions. So we deal with the programming of the past that's getting in the way. We deal with the family dynamics, early childhood experiences, very negative and intense emotional experience, sometimes even traumatic experiences. Now, it's not all about the distant past. It may also be, say, destructive marriage, some kind of toxic relationship you had a few years ago. And a person now learns through the regression and the processing, the revisiting, reevaluating, deconstructing, reconstructing, to take that experience and use it beneficially without carrying baggage of shame, guilt, or resentment and anger, which keeps many of us in the past. And most people really live in the past primarily. And it's easy to say, oh, meditate, get in touch with your breathing and stay in the present. But that's all well and good. But when you've got deep problems in your mind, your ability to do that is quite limited. And so it's a deep part of any philosophical and even spiritual tradition to face your past, to come clear of it, to really cleanse and clear it, to live in the present and in a very vibrant way. So we need real knowledge in being able to confront the past and process it, not some techniques or gimmicks. And there are many methods and techniques, of course, you learn in Transforming Therapy with our Advanced Analytical Hypnotherapy course, the uncovering and processing stages, integration, bringing more and more levels of closure to it. So it's done very thoroughly and very safely. You learn a lot of tools and methods for training and using on your own. I just one today, a man said to me, I've been struck, I'm a hypnotherapist, I've been stuck, not really able to develop my trance. And in a very short few minutes, it wasn't a full therapy session, I said, all right, get in touch now with yourself, close your eyes, and put the trance, the deep trance you don't have, in the chair and talk to it, and then let it talk back to you. Getting in touch with the problem at a deeper level. Of course, it began to reveal the usual things of guilt and shame, and that has links with his childhood. So that's a great start for him, even. Instead of just thinking about it, the cognitive approach alone, going to the deeper emotionalized beliefs, to the deeper roots of where that came from, to deal with those problems at the level of the brain in which they're located. And so hypnotherapy of that kind, that advanced analytical form, is really the closest thing we have to a time machine, to be frank, that we can go back and redo our past. Not false memories or anything like that. We're changing the negative fixed ideas, doing a very deep form of analysis, not old-fashioned hypnoanalysis, not just psychoanalysis. So it's a very, very profound form of analytical hypnotherapy that we teach at HTI, which Gil Boyne is such a major influence on that development of our ideas. And he, of course, continues to develop his ideas through his life, and we keep adding to them as well, keep refining and developing it. Now, as we clear the path, we're able to get into the present in a very, very powerful way, with increasing the will to live, the will to succeed, to fulfill our life's purposes. And that analysis that I've been talking about is not only analysis about past material, analysis of ourself, the different levels of self. So that takes us into the whole idea of self-knowledge, self-concept, and how that changes as we go through life, with our life stages, the life challenges, the life changes we must go through, from the teenage, let's call it the kind of transition, or it can become a crisis, a negative crisis, or a midlife transition, midlife crisis, or a third age crisis, where things change as we develop and mature. And sometimes we get stuck, and some people never quite come out of their teenage unhappy rebellion phase. So as we go deep into the subconscious ourselves, we take control and power over the mind in this way. And so we have many methods, as I say, for doing this. There's a great deal of knowledge on our course that you learn from. And as you go into it, all in all, you are learning about yourself, the deepest levels of your own being, deep down to archetypal levels, even for those who want to pursue that. We had the level of dreams, of deep trance, deep emotions, level of archetype symbols, and so on. So there is an enormous amount of material for us to learn in that field of the human mind in its deepest core levels. Not only cognitive and emotional, but deep intuitive inner wisdom within all of us. And we can understand and learn to use that in different ways according to our own desires and needs. So I'm hoping you will look into the topic of analytical hypnotherapy, look into what we offer at HTI. We have a new class coming up on Advanced Analytical Hypnotherapy in September, and you can learn very well online. Much of this is live online teaching. As you are not a child who's trying to learn from a screen, you can learn a lot online. That's our experience now over many years. You can also come to some in-person tuition at another time to add to that knowledge. So I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our courses soon. Thank you very much for listening and watching.